Hearken to me. Something's coming. I can feel it. In my blood. In my bones. Pounding. In my skull. The god of war approaches, and in the pale glow cast by this altar of ultimate darkness, even the dauntless are given pause. Khorne's chosen have come, rallying to the side of Kholek Suneater, eager to pile high the corpses of the fallen with a sacrifice in his name. But the Cult of Ulric are not ones to sit idly by while the ruinous powers work their foul deeds, so the Knights of the White Wolf and Todbringer Guard, led by Graf Boris Todbringer, are here to put a stop to this madness. We're back on SFO Grimhammer with the Sundering update, focused on the High Elves and Dark Elves, but before we get to any content related to them, it's Chaos and the Empire, El Clasico, Real Madrid vs Barca, Lakers vs Celtics, Avengers vs Thanos, and in the blue corner, march the armies of Midland and the Ulric, with a White Wolf theme, as one might expect. Kind of surprised there's no Wolf Priest hero yet, but they've still got their great hammer-toting Todbringer Guard and a battle standard bearer to lead them into the fray. These are elite shock troops with passive support abilities for nearby enemies and a hefty dosage of AP. Behind them, of course, are the iconic Knights of the White Wolf, amongst the most militant knightly orders in all of the Empire, with also heavy doses of AP, a bruising charge, and all the Warhammer flair you could ever ask for in a unit. There won't be too much in the way of magic or range on this particular battlefield, not when Khorne and Midland are duking it out in melee, but the White Wolf Huntsmen should provide some monster killing potential with their frostbite slows and bonus versus large bows. A pretty good archer unit that has some utility on the battlefield. And in the front ranks are the Wolfkin. Midland's fetish isn't exactly subtle. Something tells me they like wolves. But these are unbreakable chaff with the bleed contact effect. Essentially nothing in the way of armor or defense, but by Ulric can they hold a battle line, at least until every single one of them is killed. And leading the army is Boris himself, astride his resplendent griffin, and he does have bonus versus large base in SFO, so gotta keep an eye out for that. On the other side of these accursed slopes march the armies of the Blood God, led by Kholek Suneater and an exalted hero. Naturally, he has the Mark of Khorne, granting magic resist, bonus versus infantry, and a huge increase in charge bonus, and he's supported by the real father of the Dragon Ogre race, Kholek Suneater. Kraken Rock's just kind of a dumbass who goes out for cigarettes and never comes back because he's too busy napping. Kholek, on the other hand, actually gets stuff done, and in SFO, Lord of the Storm strikes multiple times, and Storm Rage unleashes a chain lightning every 2 minutes he spends in melee. Also, he has almost 700 weapon strength, so dude is kind of a beast. Now for the infantry component, Khorne chosen Berserkers will be the first into the fray, powerful augments that cause some backlash damage to themselves, because they're biting their own shields in rage, and yes, they are amazing infantry blenders. They don't actually have shields, I guess they're biting their axes, but I think you get the point. They'll be joined by a Hell Cannon, a bunch of Marauders, and a core of 3 Chaos Knights chilling in the back. Now, each variant of Chaos Knight is more heavily specialized in SFO. The Sword and Board are anti-infantry, and the Lance variant are bonus versus large and armor piercing. So, although they perform a similar role to the base game, they have overall better performance here, especially when it comes to their specific unit archetypes they're supposed to counter. So, the Lance variant will be better against enemy cavalry and monsters. The Sword and Board will be better against infantry than their base game counterparts. So, this is a taste of the horrors the Blood God will unleash in Total War Warhammer 3. It's not the whole kit and caboodle, but it is a taste. The Warriors of Khorne are out in force, and they are oh so blessed, baptized by their Baron of Blood. Now, the Hell Cannon is going to prove an important unit in this battle. Going to be difficult for the forces of Midland to shut that thing down because of the way this map is oriented and because of the way the Warriors of Chaos are set up to defend it. On that downslope where it's kind of protected from missile fire and where there aren't a lot of opportunities to flank, Midland can't really push their cavalry advantage a whole lot because there are 3 Chaos Knights. They don't really have a cavalry advantage. They're going to have to work with Boris Todbringer and his bonus versus large to try to cut them down and eventually get into that Hell Cannon, but it'll be really difficult to stop it from shooting for a while now. And unfortunately for the Wolfkin, they're in for some pain and suffering. Khorne chosen Berserkers with their Rage of the Blood God buff pop to give them even higher melee attack and charge bonus are uniquely suited for slicing through hordes of low-tier infantry quickly. Think Depth Guard on steroids with 25 bonus versus infantry. So they're literally over 100 melee attack as they slam home to the front ranks of the Cult of Ulric, and the Demonic Dildo Cannon, they're spitting some super hot fire into the Teutogan Guard, who immediately lost their battle standard bearer. Now, these are the Bordermen, a grenade launcher infantry regiment with the take cover contact effect, a unit great for quickly clearing out low armored chaff, which means they should be able to wreck Marauders, but won't do much to Chosen and Chaos Warriors with over 100 armor. So, all across the altar, really, both sides have begun the infantry clash. Khorne Chosen should straight up raffle stomp the Wolfkin. It will be pretty one-sided, but it will take them a bit longer than they'd like, simply because the Wolfkin are unbreakable. And Chaos Knights with sword and board on the left flank, slamming home and trying to make stuff easier for the Marauders, who should trade efficiently into Wolfkin, but might not outright win. Definitely a good idea to get the Chaos Knights some clean charges into the front ranks, just to soften them up a little bit, but they can't stick around in that fight for too long, because the Griffin has landed, and the Knights of the White Wolf aren't far behind. It doesn't really matter how great you think your armor value is, or how great you think you are in melee combat. If a Griffin and the Knights of the White Wolf are surrounding you, you will not last long. They will cut through that armor like a hot knife through butter. So the Chaos Knights with sword and board will have to retreat from that fight. They're beating up on the Wolfkin on the left flank, though. Not a fun fight for them at all. Here come the Knights of the White Wolf, and here come the Warhounds. They've got a beautiful opening into the rear of the Midland Army. Very smart to keep some of those Knights of the White Wolf in reserve. You want to make sure you have something to defend those ranged units, but Kholek and the Exalted Hero about to get stuck in and drop the hammer big time. Star Crusher about to flatten some infantry units into pancakes. Meanwhile, the cavalry retreating from the right flank as Kholek brings down the Tempest, the Storm, the Wrath of a Thunder God. Grenades bouncing harmlessly off that thick armor, and Teutogan Guard now in a pretty precarious position. Bordermen are now the new target of the Hell Cannon. They've also lost their battle standard bearer, and spoiler alert, it's not going to be a fun time for any of those wielding flags on either side in this game. They're going to get pretty unlucky on both sides. Midland completely overloading the Chaos right flank with Knights of the White Wolf, Teutogan Guard, and Boris Todbringer. They've broken through, Free Company Militia retreating. Maybe they're just going to be a meat shield and block the charges of those Chaos Knights, but looks like Khorne is a little hesitant to commit to that fight. They're waiting for the Wrath of the Tempest, that lightning ability to keep arcing down, maybe deal a little bit more damage. Chaos Warhounds have made it into the rear of the Bordermen, munching on their booties, and the Wolfkin still holding the line. They are unbreakable, and that helps a lot if you don't have good stats. It means they'll just stay there and fight to the bitter end, to the last model remaining. Both armies have already taken some blows. Looks like they'll retreat and regroup, reorganize, and reload, ready to charge back into the fray when an opportunity arises. Khorne Chosen Berserkers managed to win, but with the fire support from the White Wolf Huntsmen and the Bordermen, they are really low, and some of that backlash damage certainly means they aren't the most survivable of infantry. They're much more aggressive than they are defensive, and now that they plunged headlong into the Knights of the White Wolf and the Teutogan Guard, I don't think they'll last very long. Kholek and the rest of the Chaos Knights fully committed into the Midland Elite, and in fact, a glorious opportunity has just presented itself. One unit of Knights of the White Wolf over-pursued. They've exposed their rear. Gorgeous hammer and anvil, and it's the one unit you want to be striking that hammer blow. It's the Chaos Knights with lances, with their armor piercing and bonus versus large. Full surround off on the Knights of the Ulric, and they are being destroyed. That will be one full unit. Elite cavalry dead and gone from the battlefield. We shall not see them return. Meanwhile, a glorious veneration of the Blood God bathing in each other's life essence. Looks like Marauders, Wolfkin, and the Chosen Berserkers duking it out on the slopes of the Altar of Ultimate Darkness. Let's get one more good shot of that hammer and anvil. Oh, it just does not get any better than that. Khorne Chaos Knights with the full surround off, and Kholek Suneater and Star Crusher bounding into the fray as well. He doesn't actually have bonus versus large in SFO, but with 660 weapon strength and that Bone Crusher contact effect, it doesn't really matter. Hell Cannon, still not been shut down. That is a problem if you're the forces of Midland. You see that they're trying desperately to push through these Chaos Knights and get into the rear to destroy that artillery. But so far, they have not been able to break down that wall of brass. Now, this is interesting. Khorne chosen Berserkers see the Teutogan Guard and say they want no part of it. And it makes sense. The Teutogan Guard are full HP, have a ton of armor piercing. So the Khorne chosen Berserkers with their 38 speed, they have enough mobility to escape and go somewhere else and avoid fighting that elite infantry and wait for a better opportunity to strike. No reason to sacrifice such an important infantry unit when you can use them in other ways and avoid stuff that will straight up murder them. Kholek is still in the middle of the entire army, just bashing stuff around alongside that exalted hero. They're holding well, but they're still a half-strength unit of the Knights of the White Wolf, a full-strength unit of Teutogan Guard, Boris Todbringer regenning the entire time, and there's still that pulsating pleasure cannon about to land a devastating strike into the spearmen. Again, the battle standard bearer evaporating into puddles of meat. Feels bad. You don't want to be a BSB on this battlefield. It's been bad news bears for them the entire day. And on top of that, we've got a fireworks display too. Storm Rage, Chain Lightning, Tempest, Vortex from the Suneater himself. Unleashed, killing off some Wolfkin. Doesn't seem like he's going to do a tremendous amount of damage here. Just kill a few chaff. Not a big deal, but him and the Exalted Hero are looking pretty healthy at the moment as the White Wolf Huntsman, Spearmen, and the rest of the Knights of the White Wolf charge home. Star Crusher, when that thing lands on you, you're not going to exist anymore. It looks pretty painful. I mean, actually, I guess it wouldn't be that painful. You'd be gone instantly, I would think. Exalted Hero, that one's more up in the air, I feel like. The blazing axes of the Blood God probably don't feel too good when they sear your flesh and chop off limbs. But the Khorne-chosen Berserkers are still alive and have tacked into the rear of the Teutogan Guard. Bounce bar a little bit in favor of the Warriors of Chaos right now, but they've got a full HP Griffin, a full HP Boris, and plenty of elite infantry left to try and clutch this one out, but still, they have not killed off that Hell Cannon. And still, it is reaping a terrible toll amongst the forces of the Ulric. Spearmen just lost about 30-35 models from that volley, and it's still shooting. So they've got to do something about it, right? There's no way to win this game if the Hell Cannon does not fall. Boris could go over there, but then he'd have to contend with Kholek smacking him in the ass. Probably would not be ideal. Oh, hey, we've got a Battle Standard Bearer still alive. That's shocking. Maybe the only one remaining on the Midland side of things. And they're fighting with the Chaos Knights. They'd have a chance at winning that engagement, but for Kholek Suneater bounding his way over. But this is exactly what Boris needs to do if he can't kill the Hell Cannon. Oh my god, another disgusting shot from that artillery. If he can outduel Kholek, and he might be able to because he has bonus force large and the cycle charging potential, then they've got a shot here. Hell Cannon is pretty much out of ammo, so maybe at this point it's not important to shut down. Bordermen firing into the Khorne-chosen Berserkers, but they won't do a lot of damage there, unfortunately. They don't deal well with high armor, which makes sense. 120 armor is good protection against shrapnel. And here comes the charge. Oh, they look pissed. Decapitations going off all over the place, and looks like the Bordermen have finally met their maker. Imagine getting chased by these shield-biting weirdos. My lord, that looks absolutely terrifying. So they're gone. Bordermen are done. They made an okay impact this game, I guess, but certainly not amazing. And finally, the Hell Cannon has been shut down. Chaos Dwarfs, the Dawi Tsar, well, they're going to be punished pretty heavily for their sins this game. Teutogan Guard and Boris munching on them, but they're bringing down the Storm. They're dropping those lightning strikes from Mjolnir, and Teutogan Guard won't be able to beat Kholek, not unless they get some help from Boris. Here he comes again for another cycle charge. Kholek's down to half HP. Boris is looking healthier than him at the moment. Exalted Hero carving his way through the remainder of these Wolfkin. And a handful of Teutogan Guard over here as well. Big strike coming in from that blazing axe. Balance Board is shifting more and more in favor of the Warriors of Chaos. Another Tempest going down. Remember, that'll be popping every 120 seconds. Mass route incoming. Boris breaks off, realizing he cannot defeat the Herald of the Tempest. And that will be the battle. Kholek Suneater with almost 200 kills. And the forces of Midland gave it a great shot, but weren't quite able to pull it out. And it was a tough position for them too, because they invested a lot in cavalry. I mean, 3 Knights of the White Wolf and Boris to help support in those engagements. You would think, against most factions, heavily armored factions, you should be able to do very well there. But 3 Chaos Knights makes that difficult, and Chaos Knights are a different unit in SFO. They are more powerful than they are in the base game, so it's a unit that Knights of the White Wolf certainly didn't perform horribly against, but it'll be more difficult for them to trade cost efficiently simply because of how good Chaos Knights are. Pretty similar damage values for the most part on both sides for the heavy cavalry. Chaos Knights might have performed a little bit better because they got those great strikes into the infantry, but Kholek with 3,700 damage value and the Hell Cannon with 3,200 and 50,000 damage dealt. Yeah, they were the MVPs for sure. The Khorne Chosen Berserkers were solid at killing the infantry and buzzsawing their way through the Wolfkin, but the fact that the Hell Cannon was so difficult for the Empire to shut down really changed the complexion of that battle. Now, those numbers are, of course, inflated because we're playing on ultra unit size and because unit sizes are bigger in SFO than in the base game, but 3,000 damage value, no matter how you slice it, is pretty awesome. 409 kills on the Hell Cannon and 2 chevrons earned. If it's able to fire unimpeded for the entirety of a battle, it's gonna be difficult to win. And it's not that the forces of Midland didn't want to shut it down or didn't try to shut it down. They just had to contend with Kholek, an Exalted Hero, and 3 Chaos Knights patrolling in the rear. And with that nice hammer and anvil from the Chaos Knights with lances, managed to seal the deal and carry Chaos to a victory.